Hegel's treatment of punishment also brings out the continuity of his way of conceiving of the structure and dynamics of the social world with that of Kant, as Kant, too, in his Metaphysics of Morals, had employed the idea of the state's punitive action as a negating of the original criminal act. Kant's idea, conceived on the model of the physical principle of action and reaction, was structured by the category of community or reciprocal interaction, and was conceived as involving what he called real opposition. Such an idea of opposite dynamic forces seems to form something of a model for Hegel's idea of contradiction, and the starting point for his conception of reciprocal recognition. Nevertheless, clearly, Hegel articulates the structures of recognition in more complex ways than those derivable from Kant's category of community. First of all, in Hegel's analysis of Sittlichkeit, the type of sociality found in the market-based civil society is to be understood as dependent upon and in contrastive opposition with the more immediate form found in the institution of the family, a form of sociality mediated by a quasi-natural intersubjective recognition rooted in sentiment and feeling, love. This dependence shows how anthropological determinations do not simply disappear with the development of more psychological ones. They are preserved as well as negated, as in the pattern of what is aufgehoben. It also shows the mutual dependence of the determinations of the singularity of the atomistic subjects of civil society, and their particularity as members, parts of holistically conceived families. Here, Hegel seems to have extended Fichte's legally characterized notion of recognition into the types of human intersubjectivity earlier broached by Hölderlin and the Romantics. In the family, the particularity of each individual tends to be absorbed into the social unit. One is a part of one's family, giving this manifestation of Sittlichkeit a one-sidedness that is the inverse of that found in market relations, in which participants grasp themselves in the first instance as singular, Einzel, self-identical individuals, who then enter into relationships that are external to them. These two opposite but interlocking principles of social existence provide the basic structures in terms of which the component parts of the modern state are articulated and understood. As both contribute particular characteristics to the subjects involved in them, part of the problem for the rational state will be to ensure that each of these two principles mediates the other, each thereby mitigating the one-sidedness of the other. Thus, individuals who encounter each other in the external relations of the marketplace, and who have their subjectivity shaped by such relations, also belong to families where they are subject to opposite influences. Moreover, even within the ensemble of production and exchange mechanisms of civil society, individuals will belong to particular estates: the agricultural estate, that of trade and industry, and the universal estate of civil servants, whose internal forms of sociality will show family-like features. Although the actual details of Hegel's mapping of the categorical structures of the logic onto the philosophy of right are far from clear, the general motivation is apparent. Hegel's logical categories can be read as an attempt to provide a schematic account of the material, rather than formal conditions required for developed self-consciousness, for whom rationality and freedom are maximized. Thus, we might regard the various syllogisms of Hegel's subjective logic as attempts to chart the skeletal structures of these different types of recognitive intersubjectivity, necessary to sustain various aspects of rational cognitive and conative functioning, self-consciousness. From this perspective, we might see his logical schematization of the modern rational state as a way of displaying just those sorts of mediating institutions that a state must provide, if it is to answer Rousseau's question of the form of association needed for the form and expression of the general will.